Start it now. And it's recording.
Hey,
Jeremy, what time is it?
it's time for a coffee break! Or no, it's not, because like that's what you say at the end. So I already fucked up.
Isn't it? It's coffee time, isn't it? That it?
It's coffee time. Yeah, we can do it again.
Yeah. All right. So, Jeremy, what time is it?
It's coffee time. You okay there, Spud?
Huh?
You okay there?
Yeah, I was just getting some hand gestures from Kira.
Like we're now rolling and now we're already fucking up.
Let's try it one
So
last time.
Eric, how have you been the last like year? How this is like a good way to like kind of like have a explanation for ourselves in the future of like, oh, how was the Corona thing? We can show this to our kids.
Oh yeah. So since last NUFF, I have moved out. I live with with a friend of mine and his sister, and practically Kira, even though she doesn't pay rent.
Yes.
And I've just been attending my university and doing some work. I haven't had work in half a year right now, though, because of the in freelance, the early months of the year you get basically no work, and then it starts ramping up again. It didn't start ramping up again because of the corona, so I've been just a student for half a year right now.
Okay. Jeez. I mean, at least you're doing something. Like,
well, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been like, especially for film people, like tough for everyone right now. Like, now is like the time we notice that like film is such a social thing, and that you cannot really make too many like proper productions like commercials and stuff as well, like without the ability of having people meet up. So
Yeah.
what kind of sucked about all this.
And also, just when we're still on the topic, for people who go to film school or have creative projects that require other people in school right now, it's also been kind of not a good time. We were supposed to have like a final project for this year, but that got cancelled, so we just had to write 10 to 20 pages, which was very not inspired. I got a C on mine because I didn't actually really.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was really unmotivated for that.
Yeah, of course.
And I know people from who go to other film schools here in Norway, or actual film schools. I don't really go to film school. Who just had to cancel their productions too, which really was bad for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been a crazy year, like last year since the previous NUFF. Like when I got back home, it was very different from when I had gotten back home in 2018. When I got back home in 2018, like the world kind of collapsed around me, all at one go. But like last year, the world collapsed like slowly, like it didn't just collapse in like 2-3 weeks. It happened in like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. Like when I came back, I was on like non-stop productions. Like last year, I worked so much. There were like non-stop commercials and productions and all that. And then like around about August, I had ended up on a feature film. I was like really excited. Some big Hollywood names in it and stuff. I was ADing. The pay was good, and like all it seemed was like it was like the best thing ever. It was like I won the lottery. And unfortunately, and like Eric, as you already know, like that didn't work out because I'm not gonna get into it. But to summarize everything, it was just disorganized, and so I left after like spending 10 days working in a row non-stop, doing like over 12-hour days without any overtime. It was something which abroad would sound just like, shit that producers go to jail for. But over here, of course, like that's not a thing. That's not a thing. There's no unions and there's no kind of guidelines or regulations, or so a lot of people do what the fuck they want, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate, but it's also in the very realistic point of view, like the only way people actually do stuff here. Because if people have to like create guidelines on paying and time and film, no one would make films. Like 80% of the films made here, which are like domestically, which are passion projects, would not be able to cater to the amount of like people that need to like pay and time it has to make stuff. And then just the rest, the commercials would kind of limit on people and stuff would just become a harder job. So overall, people just it's like they prefer in a crappier situation because it's the only situation, the best of the worst. But yeah, I don't want to talk about too much about that. Luckily, I finished my film. We're still editing heavily on animation, like literally like from 2018 NUFF. I think I've been mentioning this film. Like I'm going at it. Animation's a bitch. That's what we learned. Animation's like a real bitch. Like we've been going at it for half a year now. We have a version, for example, with like without the kind of shading on the character, which is more of a kind of early festival version. But at least with it got into one festival till now, the Youth Film Festival, and as you know, it won Best Picture, so I'm really hyped about that.
Hey.
And yeah, like again, it's I did like from October till March on a series which might get on Netflix, maybe not, but there's a possibility. Learned a lot from it, and it's coming out in October, so that's something to be excited for. But overall, yeah, like we're literally like what's called? We're literally like I'm in an okay position. Can't complain. Can't complain. Next few months are important.
Yeah.
Sweet. So Eric, how was your NUFF thing, or do you have something to add?
No, I don't really have much to add there. But yeah, NUFF this year has
Oh boy,
been online, which has been
so weird.
we've had two very different experiences with that.
Yes, we did. And
So
I actually did see a short film, so I'd like if we can like talk about it,
all right,
like
so
talk about each other's thing.
yeah, I want to start with yours at least because
Yes.
you
Yeah. Oh, it's mine. Okay.
yeah I
So
actually really liked yours.
thanks.
It was fun. I think the
Mhm.
ending was a bit rushed, like the joke, like
Yes.
oh I'm yeah
Yes. Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
rushed, but other than that, it was really well done, I think.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I mean, the only thing I can say about that is that like the original cut is like 7 minutes long, and like
Jesus.
we're actually planning on doing like a full cut, but like the enough guidelines said like 4 minutes, so we like really cut out a lot. There's like even we did like one of our scenes explained why the internet's like not up.
Hmm.
Another scene gets like a whole montage of them like packing to like try to get a trip to Germany and stuff. So there's a lot which was cut out, and unfortunately like really small details in lines like got cut out. So yeah. Um, yeah, I had a very wonderful experience. I had two other group members with me.
Hmm.
One of them, Ragni, was with me last year for the Postman, so that was just a funny coincidence. And the other one, Hannah, she's brilliant. She's like really funny, really creative. She knows her stuff. She's experienced in film, and like when I tell you guys, like when I tell you like not once did we like have an argument or fight or had like a 2 hour long discussion over nothing. Like we did not, and
Yeah.
like for some reason it kind of for me it was a better experience than last year, because last year was great. Last year was amazing. The Postman like came out like pretty decent, and the people got along. It's just that there was those two group members which you just don't get along with, which just things just don't work out,
Yeah,
and
that always
and
happens when you have is it 6 people usually?
yeah, or more. I remember I had like quite a few people on that team, but
Yeah.
like again, like for everything in this experience just worked. Every idea just bounced off great, and everyone contributed in the best way. And our mentor was great as well. Like our mentor, like when we pitched him the idea, he was like, "Oh, I like it. I like it. Keep it up." And we then like he's like, "Send me the script once it's done." And when we sent him the script, he then sent us a message like, "Hey guys, like I really like this stuff. I actually," and he's like, "I actually made a documentary about all of this stuff and blah blah blah. If you guys need any help, hit me up." Like he's like, "I want to be part of this too." Fuck yeah. And so yeah, it was like type of situation. It was like a real like awesome win. Like and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with it. Just very fun film,
Yeah.
So yeah. So what about you, man? I watched your film. What do you think?
Well, first, what did you think about the movie?
So honestly, if I have to like be brutally honest, the first half I preferred than the second half. Because
Yeah.
the first half was like a really nice build up, really nice. Like even the cinematography seemed like really decent. Um, the only thing is that like once the characters get to a certain point, like it kind of slowed down a bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
after I think it was the best actor and it dies. Like it kind of slowed down. And this is the joke because Eric was the best actor. No, but like after like Eric disappears, it really slowed down. But again, I don't want to just give it shit because made in a week at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, like it's that have that like horror thriller vibe. Just needs a jump scare really.
Well, yeah, we tried to do like something better than when our second character dies. It was supposed to like just go to the POV of whatever is killing everyone, and just
Mm-hmm.
push in on her like cut.
Screaming and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason we didn't get that, so we
Ah.
went with what we got instead. And in the original cut, which was 5-6 minutes long, we also follow our last character out into her hideout, which we wrote in the
Mm-hmm.
script, and like have her break down, and then the monster takes her to, or we were gonna cut early. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not quite sure what I wrote there. So the ending, or like just the whole second half, was actually very different in the script, and
Okay.
I think that a big problem was lack of resources, or
Yeah.
we didn't have lights, like external lights. We didn't have uh, other people on set to help
Fair enough.
out, and so we ended up getting what we got. And I mean, Lena and Timon, who were contributing in this film, they did a good job with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we really didn't really we had bad communication with.
How many people were in your group?
We were me, Lena,
Mm-hmm.
Timon, and Muayed, but Muayed came in like day 3, I think.
Oh man.
Had a bunch of ideas, and then we never heard from him again.
Was there a reason why? Like, was he like
I
on?
honestly think it's just communication problems and
Okay.
possibly
Okay.
bad internet. Uh,
Okay. Fair enough.
just like the format this year.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Man, that's unlucky. That's really unlucky.
yeah. So we're in praxis then 3 people trying to go towards this one thing, which we're also not quite on the same page about, because we hadn't had enough meetings and we needed to get it going,
Okay.
because we were really late to the party as well. We really only got around to writing and the idea on the second or third day,
Fair enough.
and then it was just rushing it through.
Fair enough.
And our mentor
Yeah.
was hard to communicate with. He was I mean, he's a good mentor, but I think also the format this year and having mentors split between groups
It's tough.
really
Yeah. Yes. It does
really
make
was
a
a
difference.
disadvantage.
Uh-huh.
So we basically did everything
Mhm.
between the three of us, like
Okay.
just about everything, and with little feedback from anyone else.
Mm. So from your end, the scenes you had to film, did you just have to film like the scenes of you, like doing the like video call,
Yeah,
or okay,
I
yeah,
just did my thing. I put up a stack of books and DVDs and whatever behind my PC
you sent me
screen,
a photo.
fucked up my room a little more, and just started
Yeah,
recording. And
sweet.
I mean, I'm not a good actor, but
Oh, it's something. It's
yeah, it's
something.
something. It's something. And then
Yeah, like I had a,
I
huh?
also did the editing,
Okay,
which
okay.
I procrastinated a lot.
Oh
I
shit.
got really unmotivated by the format this year.
Jeez. We had
So
a really different experience, man. We had a real different experience. Like with like I in a way I found it kind of um in a way like it we worked better by being online because like when you're enough and you're in a table sitting around each other, it's very easy to kind of start talking about random shit which, is not like worth it,
mhm.
and some people like wouldn't mute themselves, you know what I mean? And so everyone's just jumping on each other with like a bunch of different ideas. But like this year, it's like what's called we all listen to each other. We all like always set a time and spoke. We came up with the idea like on the very first like chat on the very first day. It was Friday, no? We had like the first kind of Zoom meeting and everything. When we were then put in our groups, um, I remember we just spoke about like what we've done and our experience, and after that, it was like I remember the question that kind of prompted everything was not what can't we do with like with our situation, but what can we do, what can make this film unique compared to others. And the attitude was like, well, if we're in a situation where there's less people around and there's less stuff, it we can do a whole film about that. And that's where like the ideas just bounce off each other. I was very lucky that the humor was like very similar, and so
Mhm.
within the first 15 minutes when you make like a crappy meme joke or something, if they laugh then you're safe. Sometimes you can be in a group where like the people are so different. Like last year, man, like a guy in my group, you know who I'm talking about. um he had his sense of humor was so different, you know it was
Yeah,
so different, like so you never really agree on much, because while you're explaining that it's funny if I don't know he fucking brings up Shrek, he's gonna think that's retarded, and he's gonna tell you that it's funny if like some guy with a trombone is gonna be playing in the street, and I'm gonna be like, no, that's retarded. So yeah, it's humor is so fucking important that people kind of share that same thing. And
yeah,
what really worked out is that in film, it's tough to find people with the same kind of creative minds as you. That like your ideas bounce off each other, and I was really lucky to have that. By day two, we're already like writing the script kind of thing, because we had already established what's gonna happen, how it was gonna start, how it was gonna end, and all the bits in between. And we never looked back, we never looked back and said, well, is there a meaning? Are we trying to give some political messages, or are we trying to like put some moral to the story? And it's like, no, it's legit a fun comedy, and I think that's why it was treated with so much love, because we're just enjoying making it.
yeah.
And just one note about like the work we put a lot of work in the world building, like um again, if you rewatch it the second time, there's so many small details, like when you're seeing their perspective from like the
Hmm.
website, like it's a parody of Twitch, and
Yeah,
like
I noticed.
all the small things, all the icons are parodies, like YouTube is YouTube. um, we put a shit ton of work on the G Fuel parody, which is GG Energy. I actually even have a hat somewhere here. Like that was really fun. That was really fun. Can't see it right now, but I think no. But I have like a whole GG Energy fucking like
Yeah.
box here. I found the hat actually. Here we go. I have a hat of GG Energy. So like yeah, like we had like a lot of fun, and like the characters all kind of fell into this like kind of alternate world, so kind of like Spider-Verse, or like of Coca-Cola, it's Coda Soda, and and every time we like, and what we liked, what was really nice as well was that on the day we were filming,
Hmm.
we had agreed not to stick completely to the script, and that like we'll try to improvise because that's the funniest thing we can do. And
Yeah.
so like when we finished filming, there were certain scenes which weren't like identical to the script, but we didn't really mind because like luckily we just loved the ideas that we came across, like the scene with like the stormtrooper, like that scene. Uh, the stormtrooper in the closet was originally he's in like a very dark bathroom. He's like running around with his lightsaber. He like hears a noise and tries like hit it or something, and that wasn't really working in of like how to film it because it's like all from one like point of view.
Yeah.
But then the idea was like, hey, how about just have him be in a closet? He's scared and hiding. So and also like the opening of the guy is him finding an empty car.
Yeah.
Originally, it was just gonna be him driving and noticing that like you know the this area which is usually like full of people is empty. And when I was there filming on like there like and we were like discussing of how we're gonna film it, I remember both me and the actor were like, that doesn't really make sense. If you're like if it's like nighttime and you're driving and you notice people aren't around, like unless you're at like some huge ass like place people recognize, it could just be it's nighttime, people went to sleep or something. But we put a car in the middle of the road. We like drove up to it and we're like, oh shit, like there's a car which is switched on and everything, and then it's empty. What happened here? And when I messaged them, I was like, I'm gonna do this. They're like, oh, that's great. That's actually better. So
Hmm.
there was a really nice kind of chemistry where like ideas bounced off and stuff. And usually, like I know it's the group is good and the people I'm working with are great. When we finish this project and we're like, okay, what's the next project? That's always a really good sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, I don't know where to go from here. Uh, we tried to do some world building too, though. With since we're on the webcam format,
Yeah,
we had to do it mostly through dialogue, though. And
fair enough.
actually, the first shot you see of the car is just something I had laying around from a job I had last year. And then we got
Okay.
some stills from which I had to just add some VFX to.
Okay.
Other than that, it's just only in the lines. Um, and we actually kind of lost a lot to the edit.
Oh man.
But I wonder, did it sell? Did we successfully like sell the world to you, or was it not enough?
Listen, to be honest, like the story makes sense. Like there isn't that many plot holes. Like when you fall into the story, it's like, okay, so everything ended, and these are like lost people, and they have a group chat together. And like, they even say like, how's the internet still running? And that just fixes all the plot hole problems. Like make the characters as dumb as you are. but like, but like, but yeah, I mean, it was a very kind of like this isn't a mean comment, but it's what you'd expect if you have a kind of quarantined horror film.
Yeah,
Like when we're discussing about ideas, like we did bring up Unfriended, funnily enough.
I
So
th-
like
I
that's like a film where like there's a bunch of people on Skype and like a random like I didn't watch it, but like everyone watched the trailer because it went viral. Where
yeah.
like everyone's on Skype and a random user comes on and they had a friend, this girl who died last year, and it's her fucking profile, and then suddenly the people on the chat start disappearing, and like that was like a whole feature film, which in my opinion would work better if it was like a short film without like a lot of like added what's called cringy stuff to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's what you'd expect from a horror kind of thing. So in a way you got that. It's just that I think it needed that jump scare to really kind of holy fuck, get me
Yeah.
like doing this.
Yeah. Again, we lost like what was
Yeah,
intended, and
yeah.
I think we kind of suffered for that. But I tried because when our second person dies,
Hmm.
uh, our Lena took just I think a black sock on her hand and just grabbed our actor and just like you're going this way, and it looked really goofy, so I had to like mask it with
Oh, okay,
special
okay,
effects.
okay. Also,
Uh,
the CGI at the start, I noticed that. Like that was like really good CGI. Like, did
Thank
you
you.
do that?
Yeah,
Ah, sweet.
it's not CGI. It's just I just try to freeze it sometimes and just add some data moshing,
Okay, okay, okay.
so it looked like it was
And
lagging.
you know what I want to like congratulate you for? Like one thing which we really like struggled to do
Hmm.
is that kind of like shit interned glitch effect.
Yeah.
Or while I'm talking, that like like one of the frames gets stuck until like I go over it again.
Hmm.
And you did a really good job with that. Like we couldn't manage to do that. Like we either like practically like literally like like froze like the shot and then like made it work again.
Hmm.
You know, it's like good job on that, dude.
I spent a whole day figuring it out,
Oh
and
shit.
in the end, I just downloaded a plugin for After Effects.
Okay, okay then. I take my compliment back. You did nothing. Oh man, but yeah, like NUFF was different. I mean, I think if I had to be accepted next year, which I
Hmm.
will apply for sure, I'm sure you would as well.
Yeah.
Like like when you're in Tromso, it's so different, man.
Yeah, you get
Like
a whole
it's
different
such a
energy.
lovely, holy shit, like it's such a lovely experience. Like everything, going to the V-bit, like the like food they like give us is like amazing always. Just walking around Tromso, like late night, going down to like 7-Eleven and buying like expensive like pizzas and stuff,
And
and then like
all the trips
all the
to
like
Blue Rock.
oh man, like all the partying and clubbing, and it's so much fun. It's
I
so
know.
much fun. You meet so many people, and like even if like you meet a bunch of assholes, like which is normal in the world, you meet like a handful of people who you will keep on talking to,
Yeah.
and they are like really nice people who are just like on the same like level as you are in like in life, in the sense like you all share the same humor and you're all like kind of happy to hang out with each other and stuff. And that's something I really miss this year. Like in a way, like it happening 2 years in a row made it feel like it's gonna keep happening, So so that's like like something which I kind of wish happened, but with the situation, it's tough.
Yeah, with the situation, it's impossible, and
No.
I think that's kind of what ruined it for me this year. Not having that energy you get
Yeah, yeah,
from being there with them, and
of course.
when you're done for the day writing or whatever, you go out, you party, or you
Yes,
sit
yes,
in your
yes, yes, yes.
hotel
That
room,
like
listen to
stress
Tame
relief.
Impala.
Yeah. But yeah, no, for sure. And like one thing I noticed like last year is like I had taken up a bottle of vodka with me, and like a whole bottle of vodka, we downed that in like the first 2 to 3 days. Like
Like the
on the
first two
third day,
days.
yeah. Like we were like I'm not making this up. Like we were getting drunk every single night, like
Yeah,
from day one, and like it was a kind of, I know this sounds like what an alcoholic would say, but like it was a really nice stress reliever when you're like working your ass off and like making films and stuff. If like at the end of the day you can just have a drink and go partying, it really like helped. And so that
yeah.
was something I really missed. Like last year it was like even better than 2018. We like partied even more, went to like house parties, and like it really like was like that's really awesome fucking thing. I
Yeah,
know it sounds like I'm complaining. It's just like I really miss it. It's such a lovely experience.
I mean, I'm kind of complaining, so
But like even the people, like the like one thing which like really gets to me is like when you see how professional the like enough like staff are.
Mhm.
Like a lot of them would be like people our age who are doing this for because they love this stuff,
Yeah.
but they're really really professional, even if something like goes wrong they handle it, like if I had to like be a bit self-critical like of my country, like a lot of the times when these things happen, you have a lot of people who are there out of like nepotism. They don't know how to like fix any issue that comes up. If
Mhm.
multiple issues come up and look, I don't know, I think maybe I have like an agenda towards like a company, who you are, but yeah, it's a type of situation where you see people like who are quite chill handling it well, and then they have like a crappy situation here. So again, I don't want to just vent about that. I like all I want to say is like their stuff are always fucking great.
Yeah, and one thing I want to like really mention about the difference between last year and this year is or like the last 2 years or and this year, when you're online you don't get the same connection to people that you get when you're
Yeah,
on the ground there with them and sitting
yeah.
around a table trying to in one way
Well,
arguing or in another way just, hey, this is
yes,
nice,
I
good idea.
agree. I agree, but I can say that I had a pretty good relationship with my group members, so I do think it depends on the group as well.
Yeah, it really depends on the group. And
But you know what though? You know what? When you're there, like, and this is like the biggest thing, like the most obvious thing. When you're there, you make friends with people who aren't in your group.
mhm,
Like last year, I'd become friends with like Silas and Dennis and Sarah and Ulva. Like we became buds with like a bunch of people who weren't in our groups.
yeah.
So like that kind of was a thing.
And we always end up having like these hotel room parties where we're like
Yeah, yeah,
10,
yeah, yeah,
15,
yeah.
20 people in the same room
Oh man,
listening to,
completely.
let's
Also,
not,
I have another
yeah.
kind of disadvantage to this year's like experience.
Hmm.
No fucking vlog. Tromso vlog 3. It's a year, so like, oh man. I was thinking of like doing a joke where like I vlogged myself like in my room, but it seemed like really silly and a waste of time. I forgot, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
No hour-long vlog this time. That's sad.
Oh man, no, I really need to do a compilation because there's some like bits in there which are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
like we were hanging out with one guy, like one of the first nights, and we're like both of us were quite drunk, and this guy like was still completely sober because he was just that type of person, like not that fun to hang out with, or to be honest. But
mhm.
basically, like how his hands were like put and stuff, like he was like just like this or something. He looked like a picture of Whoopi Goldberg. And I'm like, hey man, do you wanna you wanna be a superstar? And he's like, not at all. Like, do you wanna be famous? And I'm like, well, would you at least want to be famous like Whoopi Goldberg? And he's like, who? And I'm like, Whoopi Goldberg. And he's like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, how the fuck don't you know who Whoopi Goldberg is? She's like the one from Sister Act. And he's like, well, I've never seen that film. And I'm like, that's like one of the best films ever made. I don't even like Sister Act, if I have to be honest, but like, there's that type of humor in it. I'm like,
Yeah,
man, I need like a comp. Like, that's like that's something I should do when I'm free.
yeah. There's like your vlogs the past 2 years. Like they're an hour long. They're
Yeah,
at times very grueling, but they're a real joy to watch every time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I should, you know what I should do next year? I should like break it down to like 20-minute like episodes.
Yeah.
Like 4 20-minute, like yeah, like 4 20-minute episodes. Or is it three? Three 20-minute episodes, sorry. I suck at maths. Um but yeah, like overall, man, like I can't, again, from my point of view, I can't really complain about NUFF this year. They did a really good job, like the staff did a really good job with what they had.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing as well, I think this is like one of the disadvantages from my end. a lot of their like I went on like a handful of their seminars and stuff. Last year I'd go to all of them,
Mm-hmm.
when you're there. Like,
Yeah.
but the quiz I completely missed. I was filming all day. The what's it called like even like today, this is something that's important to bring up. I like completely overslept,
Yeah.
and like I wish I was awake, but I knocked out completely, and like if I was in Tromso, you would have woken me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You worked till 8 in the morning today.
Oh, and you know what happened to me, man? Like it's like 7, because around about 5:30 we had like the draft, and by like 6:30 we were
Mm-hmm.
watching it all together and finally saying awesome and stuff, and like really like being happy about what happened.
Yeah.
And then in at around 7ish, it like submitted onto the Google Drive, and I stayed like kept on like looking at it just in case it didn't like load up well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept like rewatching, and then I like rewatched it the last time. And then like uh, my dad woke up, and like and he's like, "You've been awake all night." I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Hey, I want to watch the film." I'm like, "Okay." And so I went downstairs and watched the film together.
Yeah.
And then I went up to my bed. I messaged Emma. I was like, "Hey, listen, if you want to like come over or something, like it would be nice if like I slept and you're like watching TV or something." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And also I did that as a backup in case I don't wake up, in time.
Yeah.
And what's called and before I slept, like my friend, like the editor of my short film, like phoned me. She's like, "Hey, listen, because I'm editing this part and I have this problem I need to like talk to you about." And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like talking to him, and like we did like 10 minutes talking, and like half of the time I'm like dying. And then like I closed my eyes at around 8 something, and
Yeah.
I woke up at 4:30. And I'm like, fuck, where the fuck am I, And I'm like, did like Emma come, like and all that, and like I phone her, and she's like, yeah, I did come, like for like 2 hours, and like, I just didn't want to wake you up. And then like, what's it called, yeah, and then like, I'm messaging you, and you're like, yeah, we're seeing the films now, and like I had just missed my fucking film. Like why? Like so unfair, man.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's kind of like something which wouldn't have happened last year, for example.
yeah. I just have a quick question about your movie.
Hmm?
Who did the animations?
Which animations?
Like you had the logos and on.
The websites. So the
Yeah.
websites, which were, with the mouse clicking and all that, that was done by Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, the like Pro Panda, like the design of the logos was done by me, and the Pro Panda kind of with the music and the like logos popping up, I did that.
Okay. Okay. You've learned to edit a lot more since last we spoke.
Yes, of course. Like literally, like with my new computer, like I've been like doing so much stuff, and again, I'm still nothing too good about it, to really be honest. But like I'm learning, and I'm with a project like this. What's nice is that you don't really have a client, so like you know you do what you believe is right, for your edit.
Yeah.
And we also like did the edit really really well, instead of like kind of waiting for um, finishing a full cut and waiting for everyone's reaction and then doing another cut. We split the scenes in like acts, and
Mm-hmm.
we all did like an act each. Hannah did act one and act two, and I did she did act one and act three, and I did act two. And because of that, we were able to do a lot more work instead of just waiting on one person.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and it just worked out. It just worked out.
Yeah.
And also the title sequence. You know how much fucking work I put into that. Like my computer like fucking crashed like so many times doing that like part, like the thing effect and all that.
Yeah. But sounds like it was what was your title sequence again? I'm trying to
It was
remember
called
it.
Unsubscribed. I can actually show it to
Oh,
you.
right. Me and Kira didn't catch that was a title.
Ah, okay. Well, I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
fair enough.
Now I remember it. Yeah, that was I can see why that crashed your computer.
Like for some reason the transitions with like the glitch effect, like that what's called, that really slowed down my computer. Like I'm not knowledgeable enough to know why, but like apparently it's like a bit heavy.
Yeah.
Let me find it.
Effects are always heavy. What were you editing
Oh,
in?
here we go. This is the, wait, I have to switch cameras. How do I switch cameras? Ah, this is embarrassing. Oh, here we go. Found it. Okay, so there we go. So like
Yeah.
that was all fucking custom made, man.
Jesus.
Even the like Pro Panda thing, like really like put a lot of work. And originally, like I found some like royalty free music for the Pro Panda thing,
Yeah.
and it worked. And then like the guy, like the music guy, because we didn't really have that much music, and like on the first like 2 days when they gave us like a random like sinister like eerie ambient noise, we were like, oh, this is great, we'll just use this. But then like he was like, hey guys, need anything? And I just finished those logos, and like, hey, if you want to kind of like play around with this, it'd be cooler to have an original thing. And he gave us this really nice 8-bit kind of music, which like just works perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we really had fun. We really had fun making this.
I kind of envy you. It's been
Oh, listen, dude.
depressing for me.
Next year, if we get into NUFF, I'm telling you, you're gonna get a good group for sure.
Yeah,
You can't
I
have
hope
it like
so.
bad, like too many times.
I actually also I just wanna. This year has been kind of depressing for me, like
Oh
this
man.
NUFF year, or this NUFF. But given what they had to work with, the NUFF staff really did
Yeah,
do a good job.
they did brilliantly. Yeah.
It's just the format that
Of
clashed really
course,
heavily.
of course. Yeah, but like, yeah, no. Overall, they did a very good job. I need to like even like send them a message and stuff, then thanking them and everything. But what I really enjoyed about, because one thing I noticed is like I'd like to see my progress, from the first enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, very funny, Kira. Yeah, Eric. Yeah, you were saying Jer.
Uh,
Are you okay there, sport?
yeah, Kira's just distracting me.
Okay. No, what I was gonna say is like 2 years ago when I was in that like NUFF group, and
Yeah.
there was I lacked a lot of experience compared to now. There was a sense of, and like I'm blaming myself as well. There's a kind of lack of knowing how to communicate, so
Yeah.
how to get your message across. Because sometimes like, and this happens when like you're not really aware of, when you're in a group and stuff. When you're in a situation where you have like lots of other people and throwing opinions and stuff, which might or might not work. If an opinion comes up which isn't the best, if you're not experienced enough, you're just gonna be like, I don't like that, we're not doing that, that doesn't make sense, and start giving them shit for nothing. And they're just gonna hate on you and then like do the same thing to you.
Yeah.
Whereas like this year I had like enough experience where like the sound would throw in an idea, and from like my first impression, I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't say anything. If anything, like, oh, that could work, how would you do it? That would be my question. And
Yeah.
so ultimately, when it came down to working and stuff, it was really efficient, because I actually learned something like quite important. Where like there was one point while we were editing, someone made a suggestion. You okay, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still being distracted here.
Amazing. Thanks, Kira. Thanks a lot. But no, but basically, someone made a suggestion, and while we were editing, and I really didn't like the suggestion. I was like, that doesn't.
Hold on a second. Your audio cut out. Jeremy, you muted yourself.
Instead of giving them shit, like the whole attitude and stuff was the whole attitude was like, let me see what they have to like give. And when she like quickly like made the version she was explaining about of the edit, like it was brilliant. It
Yeah.
made a good great. And so there is a sense that like this NUFF I did like learn a lot like that. Yeah, you know, when it comes to working in groups and stuff, you need to really be open-minded and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that is also something you should have learned in the first year on NUFF, though. It's like being open-minded,
But
but
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know
it's
that.
not
I
always
didn't know.
easy, especially with your
Oh,
first year with the one person who was very much not
no, but
open-minded.
listen. Realistically, the first year, like, it's not as simple as just down to one person.
Yeah.
It was down to every single person being very, very different. The only two people which kind of like, the only two people which kind of made like got along and stuff was me, Aletta, and Emil, and like what's called and Aletta and Emil are both quite quiet. So like what happened was one guy was a documentary filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy, the Lithuanian guy, like the laziest guy I've ever met, was like a super kind of artsy, like like rebellion, like rebel, like protester, fucking filmmaker, very very artsy.
Yeah.
Then there was an actress who just didn't even speak English, so she didn't contribute anything. And the worst part was like the chick who kind of destroyed all our momentum, made us have to repeat all our like sentences, like, and take 10 minutes explaining it to her, and then she wouldn't pay attention. She like prohibit us like being creative by like kind of stepping in at the worst times and telling us that like that would offend people, and it clearly wouldn't, and she obviously had an agenda in mind that like she only makes certain types of films, and that she what's called that she only wanted to make films about minorities. And like our attitude was always like from the get-go, like, having a film about people, doesn't matter if they're minorities or not, we need to treat them as people, doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, oh, a minority does this and that. Like, no, man, like fucking treat them like normal people. That's how it should be. But the second half of that year, the issue was the mentor. Because one thing I noticed is the best mentors are the ones who kind of keep a bit of a distance,
Yeah.
especially creatively and stuff, where it's like, you guys, have fun doing this, learn from it. If you guys need help and stuff, I'm gonna be kind of a quality checker. But the one from the first year, she was treating this like she was one of the participants, not as the mentor.
Yeah.
And even, for example, I remember like getting like really like jealous, because there was a group where like I remember the workshop leader was like having a coffee, and she was like, oh, I just let them like go film, they got this.
Yeah.
Whereas ours, like, of
Wasn't that
course I'm
my
gonna be
really?
with. Could be it was like this chick. She was like really cool. She had like short hair.
Yeah, that was my mentor.
Yeah. Like really, like that makes a big difference. Ours, like like me and the documentary dude, like worked really hard on like the schedule and stuff, and we had a very specific time frame for everything. And when we got to the first location, our mentor was like, "Oh, we can take an establishing shot here," and we're like, "But do we need it?" And she's like, "You always need an establishing shot." And we're like, "Okay, fine." So we put the camera down, we take an establishing shot, and we're like, okay, let's go. And it's like, no, it's not good. It needs to be this. And then I could do it. And then she's like, well, we need to take it from this angle. And it's like, we'll need some movement. So we got the main character walking, and then back and forth and stuff. And we did like over an hour taking the shot.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it did not get into the final film because we didn't need it. It never needed it, And like today, I wouldn't kind of like experience that and stuff, but like at the time you just wouldn't know what to do. And so like ultimately the story from like 2018 was that like every single person just wasn't compatible, and it was very stressful working with people.
Yeah.
And we really had fun on the last day when we snuck out without telling our mentor. We all agreed that we didn't want our mentor to be there because she was just stressing us out.
Mm-hmm.
And when we filmed a sequence like on the very last day, and we actually like all like got along. We managed to get along because there wasn't someone kind of like trying, instead of like being a mentor to help us out, making a film not to embarrass her. That was realistically what the situation was, which was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But then again, like last year was way better, like a guy who just helped us out, and this year was the same thing, the person who just helps us out. So
Yeah.
that's what was nice.
Yeah. But Jeremy, I think we are kind of running out of time now.
Yeah, how long have I been at it, man?
Let me check my. Yeah, for about an hour, I think.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
This has been
So-
awesome, man. Like at least we did a podcast as well.
Yeah.
Our NUFF experience this year is finally over, can't wait to see you next year, man. Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope we're meeting up in Tromsø next year, not online again. I can't take another year online.
I don't think so, man. Like I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
I think like
I don't think so either,
there's
but
like
you
a
never
whole
know.
fucking year left. Yeah, maybe something different happens, but again, like geez, like there's like a whole year left,
Yeah.
Anyway, what time is it, Eric?
It's time for a coffee break.
Woo! Remember this? Yeah. Also, like I can end it on like the actual like OG poster.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. All right.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Take care, man.
Take care.
Ciao.
Ciao.